Who are our geriatric patients, and where do they come from? These are the questions we will explore today as we discuss the demographics of aging in America. First, what defines old age? The conventional determinant of old age is 65, but as longevity has increased, this has been refined to the following. From 65 to 74, it's described as the young old. 75 to 84 is considered middle old. 85 and older is the oldest old. The U.S. population is growing, with a projected 400 million citizens in the year 2050, a significant increase from 314 million in 2012. Of the 314 million people living in America today, 13% are over 65. That percentage will grow to 20% in 2050. Why is the elderly population growing? The reason is twofold. First is the past fertility rates and birth trends of the years 1945 to 1974, the baby boomers generation. 76 million American children were born during this period, and by 2030, all of the baby boomers will be 65 or older. The second reason is that the mortality rates have been steadily improving and will continue to do so, with a resultant improvement in both life expectancy and survivorship rates. Part of this trend is attributable to a 50% decrease in smoking among the older population. In 1970, 45% of the population ages 25 to 44, who are now 67 to 86, smoked. In 2011, only 22% of the same age demographic, who will be 64 to 83 in 2050, smoke. Obesity also plays a role in mortality rates, and although the incidence of obesity dramatically increased between the years 1980 to 2008, that trend is leveling off. To illustrate the improvement in life expectancy, one need only look at the statistics. In 1900, males on average lived to age 47, females age 49. By 1950, this had increased to males living to age 66 and a half, females age 72. The latest figures from 2012 show males now live to age 76 and a half, females to age 81 and a half, which poses a logical question. Why do women live longer? The answer is multifactored. Number one, females are tougher in utero. Number two, women are less likely to be daredevils. Number three, women succumb to heart disease later. Men are more likely to develop it and die from it as early as their 30s and 40s, versus women who typically develop heart disease 10 years later than men. Number four, women have stronger social networks. People with strong social networks have a 50% lower chance of dying than those with few social ties. Number five, women take better care of their health. Men are 24% less likely than women to visit a doctor within the past year and are 22% more likely to skip out on cholesterol testing. There are many fascinating and informative questions a person can ask about the demographic makeup of the older population, and I want to explore a sampling of them. A statistic that was new to me but reflects my own experience is the dependency ratios. This looks at changing age structure of both the younger and older population and is an indicator of the potential burden of the dependent population, those younger than 18 and older than 65, on the working age population, those between ages 18 and 65. As the accompanying slide illustrates, the dependency burden of the older segment of the population is gradually increasing, and by 2040 it will be essentially equal to that of the younger population. This implies that the number of people who are active in the workforce will be decreasing, unless the typical work age is extended beyond age 65. Another noteworthy observation to make about our changing population is the minority composition. As the graph clearly indicates, the minority population will be dramatically increasing over the next 35 years. What cultural changes will this trigger? How comfortable and effective are you at dealing with individuals with a different background than your own? Information regarding living arrangements reveal the complexity and variety of situations our patients will potentially be experiencing when we are trying to improve their quality of life and their ability to function at home. The takeaway message I get from this is that there is no predictable pattern, and each individual circumstances have to be explored. This leads to another frequently asked and often mistaken question: how many older people live in a nursing home? The answer is typically surprising, with a total of only 4.1% of people over the age of 65 being institutionalized at an average length of stay of 1.8 years. A further breakdown by young, middle, and oldest old is: among the young old, aged 65 to 74, only 1.3% live in a nursing home. In the middle years, ages 75 to 84, 4.1% are nursing home residents. But in the oldest old, those 85 and above, fully 15% are institutionalized. This means, however, that 85% of even your oldest geriatric patients will still be aging in place. So how are people financing their retirement years? The answer is that an increasing number of them are continuing to work to augment Social Security, savings, and pensions. You should note that Social Security typically accounts for only about 40% of older people's income, and that earned income is on the rise. Finally, let's look at the health and disability status of the aging population. As the chart indicates, chronic diseases are common amongst the elderly. In fact, 80% have at least one chronic condition, and 50% have 2 or more chronic conditions. How does that affect our profession? You need a good knowledge of cardiopulmonary and orthopedics for geriatric practice to address the complexity of the medical profile of most patients. For, after all, geriatrics is essentially a generalist practice with a holistic approach. And health care for the geriatric population is costly. Over the age of 65, 12.7% of all of their expenses are spent on health care. Under age 65, only 5.7% of daily expenditures are on health care. Also, those over age 65 has 3 times as many hospital admissions as the younger population, with an average length of stay of 5.5 days for the older person versus 4.8 for the younger individual. And since Medicare only covers approximately 55% of total healthcare costs for the elderly, this means that maintaining their health is a potential financial burden for any older person.